All I can tell you, I have not made my decision yet. I'm very close. Of all the candidates running, how many have actually wrestled in 280-pound, 8-foot alligator for a political contribution for $15,000? How many? I'm your man, folks. There is nobody else can do it. If I can wrestle an alligator, I can sure as hell wrestle Donald Trump, boy, and that would be worth it. And you'd pay money to watch that debate.
You see, this is what we need. That was fun.
Gator. Yeah. You know that. Don't make Gator.
Fun.
Don't let Gator loose, man.
That's the best.
I'm your man.
The best answer to the Roger Mudd question I've ever heard. I want to be president because I wrestled an alligator.
Like, we need someone who's done that. Former Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe in Washington yesterday, referencing there a stunt that he pulled in 1980 to fundraise for then President Jimmy Carter's re-election
campaign. Look at Gator.
Look at him.
Listen, nobody on this set is allowed to call him anything but Gator.
I want to do that.
And
that's cool.
And Alex, if you can get us clips from the other guys, I need Gator.
The Gator scene?
Yeah, the Gator scene.
No,
Gator
seriously, that was fun.
Gator don't play that.
Terry's fun.
Okay. Oh, Gator.
That's just a relief.
You know, they could use Mike, somebody like Gator. You know, because like yesterday they started Democrats started talking about guns, right? And so Beto was like, I inherited guns, but I left them in the attic, and they are rusted. I've never touched them. And then Pete Buttigieg said, I've got a antique gun, but it doesn't work. And then Bernie was like, I was a Boy Scout once, and I looked at the gun, but then I turned away. I mean, they're by the way, why are they all speaking Irish now? I don't know. But it's like, come on, man. Oh, yeah, you got Reagan Democrats across the Midwest that want to feel comfortable, like voting for you. It doesn't mean you need to get like an AK-47 and start shooting up the sky. Go to a gun range. Get a shotgun. Go out with some friends. It's a lot safer than eating the crap they have to eat at those Iowa State fairs.
Well, it's also
get a trained instructor. Take them down to the range, and maybe you'll learn a little bit about the issue and can actually relate to some of those people who voted for Obama and Trump who may want to vote for you.
Well, it's also beyond just the language around guns. It's the language that they employ that indicates to the average person they have never led a real life. They have never had a real reaction to things. And specifically yesterday, there was an event that took place in Washington, and I'm going to raise it, but Representative Ilhan Omar referred to September 11th as some people doing some things, which is just simply a distortion of the reality that not only people in New York have lived through, but what happened to the United States afterwards. Not one of the candidates spoke out about that when asked. Several of them had no comment.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, get real, as you just said. Get real.
Well, the only thing I'd say on that is, you know, Dan Crenshaw did a great job reaching out to the SNL
Pete Davidson.
guy, Pete Davidson. Yeah. And he was tweeting about this yesterday. I didn't quite understand that because he works with her. Walk across the aisle and just sit down. It's so important, I think, personally, for her to succeed. Right? There have been some missteps, but there's something much bigger here, like going on. Like, we don't want one of our first Muslim women Americans to blow up politically like this. And I just wish you'd walk across the aisle and go, hey, let me tell you, this is why this is going to be offensive to some people, and I understand how you feel about Israel, but can we just talk regularly about this?
And then maybe he could tweet, we just had a talk.
Yeah.
There's hope that this conversation will get us together. And doesn't even have to say, we talked but there's just a different way of, why tweet?
Well, and by the way,
we're right there.
Yeah.
It's like me tweeting at you right now.
About
sitting right here.
And they can have a dialogue back.
That's why they're in Washington together. They're supposed to work together.
People tweet because it's not for the other person; it's for all the people watching. But Congressman Crenshaw is a good guy and a decent guy, and maybe he will do that today and go talk to her about that. I hope he will.
And by the way, I'm not just picking on him. I'm talking about him because he has shown the ability to do what other people in Washington do not do. And by the way, my whole point about the gun thing is if you don't like shooting guns, that's like totally fine. It wouldn't hurt you to go to a range, but if you just are beyond going to a range, just don't sound like you're saying it because you're afraid blue check marks are going to lash out against you.
But they are.
If you shoot a gun. By the way, that New York Times article that was out is so important. So important because let's admit it, we all live in a bubble, Steve. We live in a bubble where we hear what people are saying on Twitter and you see that all day. And suddenly, you
think that's how the world is thinking.
This straw is offensive, and I hate Mother Earth. Okay, yeah, it is. You know what? I'll get.
But I can tell you that.
Will somebody get me a wood bowl that I can drink my latte out of, please? But
it's.
The key is screening that noise out and doing your best to connect to those Reagan Democrats. And also on the other side of it, not just white working class Democrats, they also lost because Hillary didn't bring out the Obama coalition. And that's also why they lost in Wisconsin and Michigan. A lot of black voters just said, you know what? I'm not excited. I'm not going to go out and vote. It won't change anything.
Yeah, look, there's no question that the energy, the visibility, the use of social media, however you want to describe it, within the Democratic Party is coming from the left side, the progressive side, the people with these so-called big ideas, many of which don't actually work, don't make any sense. And the more sensible people are having a hard time breaking through and having a hard time being part of the conversation, even though I think they're saying the right things and think the right things.
All right, and that article that involves the whole blue check mark problem in yesterday's New York Times, we're actually going to dive deeper into that with John Della Volpe from Harvard coming up a little bit later in the show. Still ahead, Steve Ratner proves he has charts for anything.
Yes.
We'll show you what he has for us this morning next.
Hope it's about gators.
No.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.